thanks for having us here, and I'm very honored to be able to present our project again. It is generative AI-based audio-visual smartphone teacher for older adults. We're a huge jumping zombie. So from our market analysis, we identified the following 3 key insights. The first is that the usage rate of smartphone among older adults is constantly increasing. Like 10 years ago, it's very hard for you to imagine an older adult over 70 to walk on the street and use a smartphone. But for now, it is hitting the usage rate of smartphone among older adults over 70 is hitting 50%, and it's continuing to grow, and is expected to hit 75% 5 years later. And this is number one. Number two, many older adults feel that they're not using smartphones well enough at the same time. And if you look at this graph at the bottom right, you'll find that from right to left, not at all, not very well. Some will run very well. About half of the half population of older adults are feeling that they're not using smartphones very well. And number three, the demand for smartphone usage in society is constantly increasing these days. If you want to book a restaurant, or if you just want to check emergency notifications, you always need a smartphone. So we recognize that based on these facts, that there is a high demand for helping older adults use their smartphones better. So precisely how do we do that? There are 2 possible solutions. The first is Helper, and we have these wonderful little tools like Amazon Alexa, Google Gemini, Siri, R1. And their trade is that they can help you do things directly upon hearing a request. And the second type is Teacher. Upon hearing a request, they don't just do the job, but teach you how to do it. And for Helper, we know that it's very convenient. For example, if you just want to set an alarm, you can just say, "Hey Siri, set an alarm for me," and you can quickly do the job. I'm sorry if it triggered your Siri somehow. But at the same time, it has its limitations. The first important limitation is that it only offers limited functionality, which means that for some tasks, let's think of a very easy example. If you want to lower your screen brightness a little bit, you can say something like, "Hey Siri, lower my screen brightness a little bit," and Siri will don't know how much darker you want to become, and so neither do you, because you don't know that until you see it. So in this case, it's not very easy for it to do this kind of job over only voice interaction. And the second very important but often ignored trait of Teacher is that it offers self-efficacy, which means that you are confident and you feel in control of what you're doing. And if you're doing things yourself, even being taught, it will make you feel like you're doing things. This can increase older adults' confidence and spur them to use smartphones more and better. And last is reassurance. AI can make mistakes, we all know that. And for this Helper, it can rather do things for you. If there are mistakes, the results will be destructive. So if you're using Teacher, you have control over what you're doing, so that this reassurance is guaranteed in this Teacher solution. But unfortunately, now, it's very hard for older adults to find great Teacher solutions in the market. What they can do is that they can register for a smartphone class, or they can buy a manual book from the internet. But these solutions are all very inefficient and sometimes even expensive. So that's why we are proposing this AI smartphone teacher to help them use smartphone better using generative AI. So how does it work, and what does it look like? So we have this technical diagram, and we have a demo video we're going to show you later. For this technical diagram, first, user gives a voice command, which goes through a speech-to-text, becomes user request. At the same time, this Android system will take a screenshot. And we'll talk about privacy issues later. It's a very important concern. And this data will be encoded as text and picture and sent to this LLM model. And the model will give a response, which is instructions of what the users need to do, or some answers, and screen overlay. And these 2 responses will be encoded into text. And it will be sent to the mobile phone side, become the screen overlay indicators, and this instruction. The screen overlay will just be put on your smartphone to indicate interesting points. Well, this instruction will go over text-to-speech and tell to the user. So let's look at this little demo video. The speaker open? I want to check Donald Trump's new messages. What should I do?
Donald Trump often shares his latest updates on X. Please tap the X icon to open the app.
Okay, I think I've opened it. What do I do next?
Wonderful. Now, look for the magnifying glass icon at the bottom of your screen. Tap it twice to start searching.
I see several options. Which one should I choose?
Please select the real Donald Trump account. This is his official account.
Now I can see his new post. What does this follow button do?
Following his account will add his updates to your feed, so you won't miss any posts.
Okay, but where do I check my feed?
Your feed is the content shown on your homepage. You can tap the house icon at the bottom to go to the homepage.
I see the messages now, but that who to follow block is a bit distracting. How can I remove it?
You can't remove it entirely, but you can tap the small 3 dots and choose See Less Often to make it disappear now and appear less in the future.
Okay, thanks.
So this is what it looks like, and just to clarify, we're handling this on Windows 11, not Android, to just evade this operating system concerns, which is also an important concern I'm going to talk about later. And again, the response time of AI is cut out just to save time. And at this point, you might still be thinking that, okay, bro, it's another little boring GPT embedded AI assistant. What we are offering is different from those typical AI applications. So we believe that the important thing here is that how to train our generative AI model. We know that in the market, a lot of people are using typical general purpose AI for a lot of tasks, but they are very easily reproducible and easily replaceable. So if some people have better AIs, the AI models, they can replace what they're doing. So we believe that for a company, we always need to think how to use specialized AIs instead of general purpose AI. We need to find a way to train these AIs to focus on a specific need so that we can do better in the market and get the enough market share. So to do that, we have this reinforcement learning approach, which just let an AI scroll through the phone, we give it enough reward function, and we can let it learn how to operate some of the apps itself. At the same time, we know that some apps have limited bot usage, so we also use imitation learning to make sure that these apps can also cover, and we use crowdsourced user demonstrations to help train the AI for these apps. And then to getting to this point, AI is okay to teach you how to use your phone. And we also use this usage data, which does not really concern personal information. It's used to fine-tune the model and to make it become personalized AI model. And after that, since we are targeting an older adults market, we also use this fine-tuning, using the data from dialogues with older adults to further fine-tune our model so that it can be tailored for older adults only, and which means that you can use less term, etc. And it also has a fine-tuning option. And we are still working on that for this reinforcement learning and imitation learning. We're not doing a large scale. We haven't done that, but we are currently using prompts to simulate the effects. But this part we are still is ongoing. So our business model, our target customers are mostly older adults because we expect them to have more demand on using our smartphones better. But we don't exclude younger generations. So there is a very huge problem in promoting our products to these older users. So we propose this free version to promote our product, and it has limited usage to let younger generations start using our product. And then we have this paid version, and we expect these younger generations, after they use our product, they propose this to their older families so that they can have more. These families have more demands and will consider using paid version to let us make money. And for this interaction, just as I mentioned, it takes user demand from the screen and gives back AI feedback. And our company is going to pay development maintenance fee, get revenue, and also training data from AI server to make our product better. So lastly, the feasibility concerns I mentioned earlier. So how do we handle privacy? It's actually a very important topic, but we found that Rabbit R1, which is another voice assistant that can access your personal information, they already have good solutions. They encrypt all communications and utilize virtual environments in authorized environments too.
Time's up.
and virtual environments in the sandbox. But we believe this is a worldwide problem, not just for us, and the standards and frameworks are ongoing. The second is how we can implement in our mobile operating systems. On Android, it's possible. We can use floating windows and conventions to make it work. But for iOS, there are still constraints, and we're still investigating alternatives and consider future compatibility about it. Thanks for listening.
Q&A session.
It seems to me that normal model and senior model are not very different. So what is the biggest difference between the two models?
Yes, here we are using another step of fine-tuning to using data about the dialogues with older adults. So that the model can just use less terms. It doesn't really assume anything. It doesn't assume that you know some heuristics, what we call. Like if you see a magnifying icon, you know that it's search for most younger generations. But older generations, this is not just by default, no. So you
So that kind of knowledge can be obtained automatically by fine-tuning.
Yes.
質問ではなくコメントなんですけど、これを、例えば法人 2B のデジタルアダプションのような課題、例えば、新しいツールがどんどん出ていく中でそれを使いこなすための、支援とかティーチとかそっちの方がお金になるんじゃないかなっていうふうに思っていて、あえてそうですね、2C のところの、高齢者層にっていうところの思いとか考えてあれば教えてください。
そうですね、まさにそれを考えているところで、実際その B2C か 2B か 2G かいろいろこちらもいろいろ考えたんですけど、やはり最後は最初レピュテーションがない限り政府とか他のビジネスと一緒に働くとはちょっと難しいかなと思いまして、とりあえず 2C だけ現実的なソリューションを提案していると思います。
あと1個クイックに行きますけれども、あれば。大丈夫ですかね。はい、では、プレゼンテーション終わりたいと思います。